Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Now you're not going to be able to hear me do that without laughing.
Great face. Now you got to tell them. Now you got to tell them the secret.
Yeah, so a long time ago, I was watching this business thing where it was talking about to make people remember your name when you're at like business meetings, and people are meeting a lot of people to go up and down with your name. So I'm Shane Robinson. So that's why I always do that with Unbiased and On the Fence, just to make it more memorable. It's something I learned a long time ago. So if you wonder why I say it the same way all the time,
because it sticks in the mind.
Supposedly it's supposed to. Yeah, we had 44 people waiting. Now we have 55 people watching.
Wow.
And we start at 2:22. Of course, it's 2:24 now. It's 3:24 for you though, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so a lot's happened this past week. We've had the blood moon and the eclipse, lunar eclipse, which neither one of us got to see that live because we were not in the fun area of the world, but of course.
Yeah, which I don't know if that's good or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I was hearing some reports of like, don't just to say not to watch it or something. I'm not sure why really, but yeah.
That just makes me want to watch it more when I
know. For the reverse psychology. Yeah, there's another trick.
Whatever you do, don't look here.
Yes, where?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that goes for all of us here, because we're all sort of rebels, none of us sort of fit in with
without a cause.
Exactly. It's like believe this. You're like, well, why? I want to know why we're believing this.
Yeah, exactly. Start asking questions. Right? That's it. Ask too many questions.
Yeah, so we kept you guys waiting. How's your eyeball doing? I told them that you were getting something out of your eye.
I know. If I'm doing this a lot, it's one of those, 30 seconds before we go on, hold on! I can't see. Yeah.
Hey, life deals you what it deals you, and you just roll with the punches.
Yeah. How's everybody feeling today? I'd love to hear some feedback as well.
So I've been having dreams. I know you're the dream person and the dream analyst.
The dream dreamer.
The dreaming dreamer. Yeah, I dreamt of I got to hang out with my dad. He's been gone now for almost 2 decades, and I got to hang out with him in a dream. That was pretty cool. I don't really remember what we were doing or anything. But I had that feeling of, I knew I was with him, and I woke up feeling like I got to spend time with him. So even though I don't remember anything, I still feel like that feeling of getting to spend time with my dad. So that's cool.
Wow.
And even my best friend and his wife, I got to spend time with them. We were like painting or something together. So it's strange. It really is strange the way. I hope you guys can hear me. I'm a little bit glitchy, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just this computer, I guess. You're coming through nice and clear.
Yeah, well, for now.
So that was an interesting interview yesterday with Angel from the Mile High
so much fun.
podcast. I do have that. I do have that link below. So if you guys missed that interview yesterday, check it out. It's below.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had a great time. So
such a great guy. I totally resonate with him.
He really is. Yeah, he really is.
Such a loving spirit about him, and definitely part of the soul family.
Yeah, he's just got this sincerity about him. That's fantastic. Yeah, and he's a lot of fun. He's goofy and silly like me. So we get along well. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and his channel grew so quickly, and I it was important to him to, I think, bring it back around, not just with the the Q stuff and the JFK stuff, and but just to bring it around to the whole bigger picture that he feels, strongly about too. So I really enjoyed being able to join him to help him highlight that and bring it back to the bigger umbrella that it is. So, but you could see, we went back and took a look at the chat afterwards because you couldn't see it. Neither of us is adept enough at this to keep track of the chat while it's going. So, but it was funny seeing some people freaking out.
Oh, really? What were they freaking out about?
Well, because they jumped on the bandwagon with the whole Q thing. They're just focused on really that one concept and not all the rest. But that's why, we talked about, because he grew so quickly too, it was kind of a good chance to sort of fleece the flock a little bit as far as this is what I'm really about, not just this. So right. So you had I think people joining in that were expecting it to be just
about the whole Q thing, right? Yeah,
and we're really frustrated. Like, what the hell are they talking about?
It's such a small part of what's going on here. You know what I mean? Whether all of that's true or not, it's not. That doesn't even matter. I mean, we're in the middle of this full event right now.
I know.
Reality is literally shifting right before our very eyes. And that could be a big part of it. I don't know. I mean, I know things are going to work out, whether that's the way it's going to work out or not. I'm hopeful it is, but
it will.
it could be something better than we have expected. That's usually how things seem to work out with these.
That's why I introduced the idea of JFK Jr. in the first place, even because it was like that possibility of something even better than we, even thought possible.
Your mom says hi.
Oh, hi, Mom.
Yeah, look at the camera and say, hi, Mom.
Mom had a cool dream. She didn't tell me all the details, but I thought it was interesting who was in it. So if Mom gives permission, or she to let people know, it was pretty interesting, the people that she had in the dream in relation to, I think, what's going on in the world right now. So Mommy's getting precog dreams too, I think.
Yeah, and we do see this sort of meltdown between, I don't know, the veil just seems to be getting torn down, and we're starting to see things for what they are. You know what I found now? It could be a coincidence. I'm not so much for coincidences, though, but I found it really interesting that we've got people in Hollywood coming out supposedly disclosing information about the deep, dark side of what's going on, and we just had that disclosure thing like on Monday. And then we did it again on Saturday.
Yeah. Right? Well, one of the few things that he keeps repeating is about the big drop. The big drop. And what is the big drop, right? The big drop's coming. Like, basically, get ready. The news. So there's been conjecture about big, because it's in capitals, BIG, having to do with Tom Hanks. Because of the movie Big he did.
Oh, yeah.
Which there was some sexual tension between a child and an adult in that movie. And that the girl he likes, and he goes back as a kid. So it's kind of like a segue. So, and there's some people standing up now through YouTube and different formats, standing up and saying, hey, you know what, this is going on. This is what I saw. And I'm tired of being quiet about it. And if everybody would just acknowledge, just acknowledge this for a minute.
Yeah.
That it is going on. You don't have to, don't have to freak out, but we need to start just acknowledging it. And if we all can do that, take a moment and do that, then this problem will get solved like that. Right?
Well, I had this, I don't want to say vision, just the idea in my mind about, it was right after I first started my channel, and I knew about certain things, and, I'm not close enough to disclose information myself, but I'd heard rumors within our own family, distant parts of things going on, and I'm like, why didn't anybody ever say anything about this? I had left my kids with these distant relatives, while my wife was having one of our children. We went and we left our kids there because she had like a daycare, and then all the stuff comes out later about it, and I'm like, why why did people keep quiet about this? You know what I mean? And there's a cover up, just not with the elites, but with just regular folks, you know, because people don't want to think, you know, we got weirdos in our family or whatever. So I just got this, and then people are just keeping quiet about it. And so I got this idea in my mind that we could start at the grassroots level, just with the common folk, right? That this closure would start to happen. So I put this video out to share on Facebook about people just coming out. I had the number to call to report stuff, you know, and because I know people, some people dealt with this from such a young age that they become an adult, and then it's like they might want to say something, but when is a good time to say something at that point when you've kept quiet your whole life? And then at some point you become an adult and you realize, hey, this isn't normal. This shouldn't have been happening. Because I can see that if it's been happening from such a young age, you just think, oh, this is kind of normal. This is something all families deal with. And at some point you do come to this realization that, oh, this was different than everyone else, or this isn't a normal thing. But at that point, are you really going to come out and say something? You know what I'm saying? So I got this vision of putting this video out, it going viral, and all of these people coming out about stuff. And then it's sort of catching on and spilling over into what the elite are into and stuff. So I don't know. I just was so surprised that I put it out there and no one shared it. Even the people really close to me, because everyone's heard rumors of something. They're like, well, I don't want to stir this up in the family.
Nobody wants to hear about that.
No, but I mean, at the same time, I don't want to hear about it either, but I can't stand to allow it to go on, because they put my kids at risk, because I didn't know anything about it. You know what I mean? And I find out later, I'm like, dude, you should have said something. I left my kids with these people. You know what I mean? And that's why it continues on, because everybody keeps quiet about it. And I don't know. Nobody
wants to be the first one to stand up. So,
but I thought with this viral video, and everybody came out at the same time, then it wouldn't be so much like, one person sort of taking all the focus. If everybody's sort of coming out at one time, you got three people pointing at someone, then it's less likely that they'll say, oh, you're lying, because three people all came out and say, yeah, we've all dealt with this single person or whatever. But, nobody saved it.
That a lot, right? When somebody famous, has an accusation against them, and then more will come out. The more people, women typically will come forward. But the thing is, this is not just about women. And I think they're trying to segue gently into the fact that it's not just women getting abused with.
Yeah.
So, you know what, Shane? I think it might be a good time to put that video out again.
I was just thinking that, just to redo it, put it out again. And
you know what? Yeah, I really think so. Because
might have been premature.
Who stepped forward now? He's been in some movies, and I really feel his sincerity in this. There's Isaac Cappy, and there's another gentleman, Ben Zemkis,
which that guy's come up missing, if what I heard.
But I think I am hearing that he's possibly in protective custody, because he did witness actual politicians at an NXIVM party.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed
doing
that
a lie detector with it too, and there were snuff films there, and it was very unusual. You had some porn star, Stormy Daniels, getting branded that night, and talking about different things. So, and that guy was pretty straightforward, I have to say. But so I like that Isaac Cappy is standing up right now, and he's certainly getting just battered with attacks. But I
think one of the things is he doesn't have proof. He's not providing proof, so people are having a problem with that, which is sort of my.
It's like these people got to stand up and say what they know. Yeah, I don't have physical evidence.
Right, but if enough people, if enough people come out, then it's like, why do you need evidence when you have you've got the 5 different people saying this now? So
and he's like, go ahead and sue me.
Right.
He's saying to, Steven Spielberg, go ahead and sue me. Then let's see. Let's have discovery then. Okay. Right. I've got nothing to lose, right? And so what he's asking too is for people to stand up. I can't remember his hashtag that he's doing, but just like the hashtag walk away, hashtag, it's about standing up and just speaking the truth of what you know. And if people will start doing that and just acknowledging it. So, and I know people don't like to talk about this stuff or look at it. And even the light worker community, you know, I know it's all, and I completely understand this, because when you go down that rabbit hole for that whole stuff, it's harsh and it's sickening, and
it's hard to get it out of your head, and it's just awful.
Very dark, and it's a very dark place to be. And I've been there, so I really do empathize. But I really believe that if we are going to be the light workers that lead the way through these times and through these difficulties, we have to remember that we are masters, and we are masters of our vibration. And I know that people don't want to delve into this. Like, you know, if we pay attention to it, it'll magnify that. And it's not about paying attention, it's about setting intentions. What you set intentions towards is what you're going to manifest and magnify in your life. It's not just what you look at or acknowledge, okay? And I think that this needs to be acknowledged and brought out into the light, so the light can dissolve it. And I think we have an opportunity to help show people how to move through this without letting it affect your vibration.
Yeah, like Sassy's saying here, it's our job to shine the light on the darkness. So
that's right. Not
we can't do that by
look at it because I don't want to lower my vibration. Well, let's be, you know what? Let's start. We've been learning how to control our vibration. Okay. And it's in order to do this work as well. It's just not all about us raising our vibration to just pick up and get out of here and leave everybody behind with this big mess, which some of us may be doing. And God bless you if you are. But I think that for those of you that feel that you are here to help shine a light through this process and have been working and training to be aware and responsible for your vibrations and shedding that light around you, I think it's time to take it to another level and show people how you can be responsible as well for your own vibration and deal with and move through these problems that do need to be brought to the light and addressed and dissolved.
Yeah, and when that happens, then there's no darkness to look at to bring us down. So if we shine the light on there, we transmute it, we bring it all to the light, then we don't have to worry about stumbling upon
We're
it.
Here to transmute it too. That's a great point, Shane.
Yeah.
Right? We're not just here to raise vibration. We're also here to transmute that negative energy for ourselves and for Gaia and the other other souls around us. So, these terrible things that we don't address or don't want to address, well, we do have to remember that it's time now to speak for the ones that can't.
Yeah, and when somebody's brave enough to step up and reveal the stuff or, expose someone, we have to be there to support them. And, even some of us who have room in our house, if they've got to get out of where they're at, to provide a place for them to come stay and things like that, we really got to step up, because I think we could really make a huge difference. Some people are stuck because that's their home. Where are they going to go if they expose someone? They might feel like they're going to be homeless or get put in a home or something. But if there's enough of us that, have room that can provide a place for them to stay and to support them emotionally, some people just need a hug when they're going through something like this. So there's so many ways.
Listen.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know what, and we want to turn away from this problem, but maybe it's just time for us to listen and start having compassion and understanding and help lead the way in how we can move through this.
Yeah, because nobody likes to hear about it, but at the same time,
it's got to be, now's the time. Now's the time, guys. I really think that this is now the time to resolve this problem and transmute it. It is now the time to bring it in the light, and we can see it's coming up. It wants to come out. So let's help bring it out into the light with dignity and compassion, and let's transmute. Let's transmute it.
Yeah.
And start saving future children.
Yeah, because if we're wanting to deal with it with the elite, you know, but we're not willing to deal with it in our own lives on this lower level of just the common people, you know, then how can we expect things to change on the higher levels when the things that are in our control, you know? And I understand it's tough. I'm not saying it's easy to come out and, you know, say what you know about.
But that's
things,
it. You know, it's a foundation. If the leader.
Whoops, did I lose you? You'll be back in 3 seconds, like
There
yesterday. There you go.
I
just had to laugh when it was happening yesterday because you guys got so used to it, you knew you'd be right back in a few seconds.
Yeah.
It's like your internet's 3, like,
4. That was funny because we're both like that, eh? And even the conversations we've had before, you know, before the interview and everything, we'd just be like, oh, right on this great idea.
Right. Yeah, it's hard when your brain's going a million miles an hour, you know.
Oh, I know. I have to remember to bring it back, release all that stuff for a little while. There's so much stuff going on. It is a really exciting time. So, but you know, we can tune it off for a bit and just remember to do that. So I think when you start squirreling too much, it's time to take a break.
Totally. Yeah. And you know, that's a great point Diane's bringing up, is a lot of times the abused become abusers. And it's this endless cycle, it seems like, because.
And that's what's happened, I think, in Hollywood as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you and I have been watching movies for years, and I think, you know, we've seen definitely some actors and actresses grow up from childhood through this process. So, and now it seems to be rotating around. So it's going to be sad. It's going to be hard for a lot of people. These are, I think, names that people have really come to love in the home. And they're going to realize or find out some stories that are going to be really difficult, I think.
Oh, yeah. When you got these heroes that you really looked up to, and a lot of times you just sort of connect with their character that they're playing in many cases, but it's still like going to be devastating that you're like, dude, I love this guy. And now
you'll never be able to love them the same. You'll never be able to enjoy that character. You know what? Go read the book. And develop your character picture in your mind, you know? Yeah. But, you know, it kind of explains why I've totally lost interest in movies. I used to be the biggest movie buff, you know? I had my favorite scenes and my favorite lines, and just like the news and TV and everything else, I've just stopped watching it all. I've totally lost interest. Even when I've, you know, gone to put a movie on, and I never make it past halfway anymore. I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So
I really only watch movies that people say, hey, have you seen this? It's really good. It's about blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that sounds interesting. I'll go watch it. You know, I just did that recently with the Left Behind movie. I'd watched the whole Left Behind movies years ago about the whole rapture happening, and it's from the Left Behind series. But Daryl and Pam were like, hey, have you seen the Left Behind with what's this, Nicolas Cage from 2014?
Yeah, when he was the pilot.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it. It's really good, man. It was, you know.
I was surprised. Yeah.
They made a pretty good movie about it.
Weird. When she was in the mall and her like little brother and like everybody just disappeared. It was really strange.
Spoiler alert. People disappear. It's a rapture movie.
It's about the rapture.
I know.
Spoiler.
I know, but you know, it's sort of, it was sort of, yeah, I guess that's not a big deal, but yeah, it was, it's going to happen in the mall at this point.
Yeah. But anyways, it's been out for a few years though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. 2014. Yeah. And I hadn't even known about it, but one of the things that sort of, you know, I just noticed like all these good people that get left behind just because they didn't believe a certain thing. And it was sort of a twist on how I view things now. I don't view like, you know, it's like the whole Jesus thing, you know, it's like if we're trying to emulate him or using him as our role model for how to be, then it's sort of like you're in that group that would get to go. But in the movie, it's portrayed as like more, you know, you have to say you have to believe the doctrine of it. You know what I mean? So So there's this lady. You saw the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's the older couple that's there. The old lady has dementia. And she gets left behind, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
How can you leave the lady with dementia behind? Isn't that sort of like the kids get to go because they're mine? They can't be responsible. The lady with dementia doesn't get to go.
I know.
I don't know. It was
Come
just
on.
laughable to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, that you know what, I wasn't crazy about that aspect of the movie for sure. So that part didn't appeal to me, but somehow it was still an interesting movie.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed the movie definitely, but I just found that stuff to be humorous. Where before I would have been like, "Yep, she doesn't get to go. She didn't say the right thing or believe the right thing." Oh, I was so deep in a religion before, you just have no idea.
Wow.
I wouldn't leave the comments that people leave me saying that I'm the devil and I'm doing Lucifer's work and all that, but I wasn't that kind of a person. But in my heart, I was very judgmental. The most judgmental I've ever been was when I was in church, and it was like, why does she come dressed like that? And this is church. And I was totally hook, line, and sinker into the whole.
Yeah. The judgment, eh?
Yeah, and it's horrible to be that. That was probably the least happy I've ever been in my life, just because you feel like you're doing everything you're supposed to do and everybody else is just pretending. And it's just, you're just so holier than thou, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
meanwhile, you're the one pretending.
Right.
Yeah. Isn't that always the way though, eh?
Oh yeah.
The finger that points and go like this.
And I would have, where I am right now, I would have totally looked at myself as, backslidden, just like, the guy has no idea how lost he is. But here I am, happy as can be.
Exactly. That's what comes down to it. It's like, how happy are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't be that happy if you're judging people all the time. I think miserable way. Well, anybody I've come across who's just got that judgment thing going on. There's always got a scowl going on.
Like Sylvia saying, your judgment separates us. It really does. It's sort of. And the religion is the same way because it's sort of rooted in that same judgment thing. It's like, you believe that, I believe this, we get to go, you don't. And it was sort of like when you think about all of the different denominations, when I found out there was over 38,000 Christian denominations, that's like more bumps than we see on a basketball. Yeah. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Right. You view Christianity as a whole, like everyone would get raptured out that's a Christian that said the right formula, the right saying or whatever, and said the sinner's prayer or whatever, and they get to go, but then, when you realize that 38,000, that's a lot of that's like a whole bunch of religions in one, and they all think they know the right way, so it's like, I don't know, that was a wake-up call when I realized
and that's just the Christianity.
Right, because I've been through half dozen Christian denominations, and I had no idea there was thousands upon thousands of them. That was just mind-blowing.
Right. Wow. Yeah.
Right, and that's the whole unbiased and on the fence thing, because you reach a point where you realize it's ego that makes you want for people to believe like you believe. You know what I mean? It really is. It's our flesh that says, no, you need to believe like me. I'm right. You know what I mean? And you really only rise above your ego when you realize, we're all on our own path. Let them, be on their path. You are on yours. No one has to believe like you. You don't need to convince anyone, So,
you know what? And that's what I like about our chats too. I was saying with Angel on the show yesterday, it's like, we're not here to say this is the way you have to do it, and we know this is the right way, and this is the answer, and and that's it. And I think caution is good for listening to anybody that is that set on this is the way it is. So, and that's what I like about what we do in being unbiased and on the fence. It's kind of, hey, look at this. This is really neat. This really means something to me. Isn't that cool? And pass it on.
Yeah.
And have a look at it and share the ideas. And we're all going to connect and find through this process what uniquely resonates with us in our own truth.
Because people are doing what they think is right. You know what I mean? That's one thing I didn't realize as a Christian. I thought like you know, you look at Luciferians or Satanists and stuff like that, and you think that they're purposely doing the opposite because they think it's wrong. But those people even think they're right. They think that the way they're living is the right way to live. And it's hard to wrap your head around it because you think Satanists, how can they possibly think? They think they're of the light, that they're illuminated ones or whatever. That's why I have that in my logo, is that the true perspective is to rise above all of the groups because they all divide us.
Yes. Yeah, all the labels and all the titles. Yeah. And all the separation.
Oh, you guys were just saying that yesterday. Like, we're all souls. That's what I liked about your conversation. We're all souls, and that's, you know, you rise above the race and the religion when you just view us all as souls. You know,
Yeah,
you don't hear that much unless there's like a natural disaster or some kind of huge accident, and it's like 200 souls died in the plane crash or something. Like, besides that, though, because they view it in the broadest sense, you know what I mean?
That's how they used to say it in the old days.
Right.
200 souls lost at sea.
Right. Yeah, that's a funny thought. But yeah, it's true. When you get down to it, it's like souls, you know. They named the part that actually didn't perish. That's kind of funny, you know, when you think about it.
That's all that's left. You know what? When you strip everything else away, when you strip all the titles and the labels and identity, everything away, that's what's left. And that's what we have uniquely in common. So, and that's what makes us one.
Yeah, it's almost like 200 souls left their meat suits at sea.
You know, people don't like it when you say.
I know. Sorry about the meat suit.
Like,
It was a joke. It was, you know, it was a higher self joke. Don't blame me, right?
Yeah. Be responsible for your own reactions.
Right. I should say, left their physical vessels at sea.
There you go. There you go. That's better. So, so a lot of people feeling the nausea yesterday, I think.
Yeah, I noticed that during the live stream. People were like, "Hey, we're feeling not so good."
I woke up with it, yesterday. Nausea and the ears ringing woke me up. That's how loud it's getting.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I got the ears ringing yesterday, and during the show, well, it started with right when we were starting the show with Nathan. I had the ringing in the ears, and then when people were talking about feeling nauseous, I noticed I had the ear pressure along with my ears getting really hot. You've been getting your ears?
Yeah.
That's wild.
The heat, and I've heard a few people talking about that too. The heat activations going on again. Yeah, definitely. There's definitely big energy coming in, bigger than the last time. I was really feeling it last night. So
I'm glad you appreciate the meat suit joke. Go Cart Bob.
Go for it, yes.
Please don't take any offense to it. Yeah. Anybody.
He's like, I'll laugh about it for you, Shane. Hi, Bob.
Yeah, Michelle said, yes, nausea big time. I didn't get the nausea, but I did get the hot ears. And
low back pain over the weekend, guys, the full moon. I know a lot of people really feel it. I certainly did. I was like, yeah, it was, that was not fun. Lower back and hips. And yeah, really, really sore. So, and I've had a lot, the most comments, I think, about that, the low back pain. And then the nausea. And I woke up, and I woke up with a splitting headache this morning, early morning. And I haven't had that happen in a very, very long time. So it was a lot of energy last night coming in. I was certainly feeling it. It's a little drained today.
Now for me, you know, like when I'm going to bed, I'll try to go to bed early I used to go to bed like the moment that like I would fall asleep pretty much the moment my head hit the pillow because I was just so tired, you know. But lately I've been trying to go to bed when I just start feeling tired. That way I can lay there and sort of get in a meditative state because I'll get these images in my mind, you know. And I even got this voice activated app where I can speak out what I'm seeing because I can never remember the next day. You know what I mean? But
you got to share that with me, that link. Yeah, that is an amazing idea.
Right. So I figured it could be kind of like a QHHT or a BQH session, you know, where I can just say the images because I can tell they're not coming from my brain. It's not just my brain is thinking of stuff. It's sort of like random images of just strangeness. But because I'm right at that falling asleep state, I can remember it was happening, but I can't really quite remember what all I was seeing. So that's why I got the app. But I usually only get a few lines. And then I noticed that I'm like falling asleep. So like a few of the lines, I'll say a few things, and then I start feeling like that's silly, that's not important, so I don't say it and I end up falling asleep. So I'm trying to train myself to say it no matter how ridiculous it seems,
Don't
just to keep
filter it.
myself awake. Right.
Don't filter it. Just, yeah. I
Because
think that's what I like about the hypnosis. That's kind of exactly what it does. You stop, there's no, the filter goes. So you just answer the question. You're not processing or filtering it through anything. It just goes.
right.
Yeah. And all this information just comes out. It's crazy in a flood without it being filtered. There's no hesitation in processing the information. Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find the app name somebody's asking for here.
That's a good idea, because I there's no way I could, the journal. I'm not awake. I can't see. I would have to find my glasses.
It's called V-A recorder. VA recorder. But you can adjust how sensitive it is. So if like your air conditioner is loud or you got a fan on, you can make it to where that won't set it off.
Right.
And then if your battery runs down quick, you could always plug it in and just leave it like by your pillow or whatever. But
it'll pick up sounds.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like about it, I wish it would put it in one long recording. It breaks it up every time it stops because you can tell it how long of silence before it stops recording.
Right.
So usually what I'll get is my first few lines and then snoring. So, yeah. Well, I'm working on it, but that's why I think it helps when you're doing like a BQH session, because the person's constantly, if you get to drifting off too deep, they're like, tell me what you see now, or they're constantly keeping you just enough here that the filter's gone, but you're engaging, you're talking, and
yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, and you just keep responding. You don't even think about it. You don't even realize you're just in it. And it's amazing. I think it's time for another hypnosis session.
Oh, definitely.
I'm gonna have to talk to Michael. Or if I got anybody out there wants to practice, if they're doing the course or anything like that.
Yeah. Are you taking the BQH course?
No, not right now. No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was awesome.
You did it, eh? Yeah, good. I thought so.
Yeah, I tried it on my daughter, and that was cool. I haven't done it since then, but we were talking about doing it again because it was pretty cool. I knew it was going to work, but when it started working, I was like, wow, it's really working. I don't know. It's like I knew it was going to work, but when it actually started happening, it was like, did I not think this was going to work? Because this is amazing. You know what I mean? And you got all the scripts and everything. Anybody wants to, you guys can jump back to one of the past video that I had with Candace Craw-Goldman a few weeks back, because you can actually get the discount now. I think it's like $333, and then you can get an additional 10% off with the code. I added the code in there. So if you're interested in taking the course, and like I told a lot of people, because I know a lot of people are broke, many of us light workers don't have the money for that. But if you can get a few sponsors, say, hey, I'll give you a deal, I'll give you 2 of them for $100 or something, you get 3 people, then you can sort of pay for it that way. The only problem is most of us are with people that are asleep in our real life. So
yeah. Yes. Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see. This energy's got to affect people that aren't aware. I don't know. They must be wondering what's going on. I mean, I think I'm certainly seeing a lot of triggering going on.
Yeah. It's bringing all that stuff to the surface, I think.
For sure. So
that we deal with it. Even with myself, I still notice, we're never free of the ego. I think I was listening to a video yesterday where they're talking about that. It's like you don't kill the ego. It's like you're constantly wrestling with it. You can never get rid of it. At least while we're here, that's sort of part of the experience, is learning to conquer the ego.
Yeah. Put your diaper back on, sit down in the corner, and here's your bottle. Now be good.
Right. And I think, that's sort of brought back the whole take up your cross daily in Christianity. I think it's about like crucifying the flesh, you know what I mean? And keeping it under control. I'm seeing that just a lot of these things that I saw one way while I was in religion, I'm seeing as this totally enlightened view now. I'm like, wow, crucify, take up your cross daily. That's like saying, nail your flesh to the cross daily, right? It's like, keep it under control.
Keep your eyes on the divine at all times. That's just a Shri and Kira line. Keep your eyes on the divine at all times. Is it the same thing?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Just.
And it's like, what do you have in your driver's seat? Is it the ego, or is it, you know, the higher divine part of you? Because you can't get rid of it. So you can stick it in the back seat, though.
Yeah.
Or if you're lucky, you might keep it in the trunk, have it back there bumping around, you know.
But you know what? I think that's key. What you're saying right now is exactly what's going on. Is actually this transition. I feel like of this higher self energy is really coming in now. It's really coming into the form, and trying on the meat suit.
Yeah.
It really is. I was really feeling that last night, and I think that we're going to see this playing out. That it's you're going to, I hope, be able to recognize more the difference between the two, and having that higher self coming in and taking the steering wheel and being aware of what the ego is doing, and knowing how to deal with it. I think that's going to be a really big theme now over the next few weeks.
Yeah, and the synchronicities seem to ramp up whenever you're in that sort of state, you know. And it's funny because people in their real life, it seems like they're like, you know, they seem like, well, you know, what's the deal with the clock saying 444 or whatever? Big deal. You just happen to look at it at that moment. So my wife's one of those people that, you know, she's like, I don't get it with the synchronicities. You know what I mean? So yesterday,
that must be so frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, that you just seem kind of weird or whatever. So yesterday, she really got it. She goes, okay, so I don't see synchronicities as being much of a big deal, but I looked at my phone earlier and it was 444, and the percentage of my battery was at 44. So it was 444, 44. I'm like, it's just, that's what it takes to get your attention, then you'll get it, you know what I mean?
But it's like, come on. Like, how can you, at this point now, it's just, you know, just like we talked about, you know, a few months ago, that it's just picking up the speed of everything, the time speeding up, the synchronicities overlapping, and it just seems to be more and more the, you know, the way we're experiencing this now, and yeah, it's just picking up, and it's not slowing. This train is not slowing down, and I think this is really, I still believe how we're going to see this come about is this acceleration of our time and synchronicities and manifestations, just to boom that 0 point really, and then snap. That's, you know, then we'll see where we go from there. But I think, you know, I do think that point I think we're working towards that for the fall. I really do. I really do think that, you know, as far as the September, October, November timeline, I think could be pretty interesting. So,
why do you get frustrated with the numbers, Kiri? Kiri's saying that she gets freaking frustrated with the numbers. I know she was talking a while back, end of last year, about, she goes, why do I keep saying 333 and 444 and 555? And it was she was just saying them all the time, and she's just like, what does it mean? And I just see them as, I don't see them as anything to get frustrated about. It's sort of like signposts.
Well, listen, what does it mean? I've been using the great tool that Michelle's Opinion shared with all of us, which was the angel numbers. It's a great website, and it has all the numbers, and you can literally go, what is that, you know, and just go have a look at it, see what resonates to you. Because I mean, I've been studying numerology for a while now, and I think it's a great tool. But at least give it a try and see what comes up, see what rings a bell. Because I do believe there are messages there. So, and I do think that it means something. It does mean something.
And I think it can mean something. I think it can mean something on a personal level too, because like I was saying, the one time I saw 525, which, you know, doesn't appear to be a synchronicity. It is 5 and then 5 squared, if you want to look at it like that. But at the same time, I saw that in the day before I read a scripture that was Matthew 5:25, and I was getting angry at a comment of someone getting angry with me, and then that scripture, Matthew 5:25, dealt with anger, and it reminded me of it. So I think, sometimes it's not just a repeating number. It could have some other meaning to it. It could be a date, like the whole 801 we were talking about, or 731 or 187. It's funny that I saw, we talked about 187 in yesterday's broadcast, and I always think of it as like the police code for murder, because like
Right.
187 in progress or whatever. But he was bringing up a whole different meaning for 187. And then I looked and I had 187 comments held in for review or something, I was like, why? There's the 187 from yesterday. So
Yeah.
it's just,
you know what? I think that's the difference between being asleep and being awake in this.
yeah, I'm to the point now where I'm constantly looking around. I'm like, where is it? I know there's something there. And it seems the more you look, you'll see a sign or a bumper sticker, or you'll overhear something. Or the more you're paying attention, the more you realize that it seems like everything is orchestrated all around you all the time. You know what I mean?
It is. The breadcrumbs have become a rope. Right? Yeah, it was
Totally.
Like, there's this and this, and then we're picking up marbles, and then now it's like, there's literally ropes everywhere in this web that you can grab on, and then you start to see that they're all attached to each other, and this is your web. So
yeah, it's all connected.
Yeah, and
so let's get into dreams a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
What's been going on in your dream world?
It's this just a lot of the same thing. Still hard to recall specific details for me too right now. It's kind of been going off and on, and it's been a lot of energy experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even. I had so much energy last night coming in. I can't even really think that straight today. I can't really remember anything from last night. But
that's a good point that you're talking about, this whole waking up, and it's like you can't get out of the feeling asleep or the dreaminess of the non-reality, the non-real feeling of being awake. And it's like, what's with it? It's like you're in this cloud or something.
Yeah, it's definitely foggy today. I don't know if I'm the only one feeling that.
You're not the only one. I've been feeling that too. It's almost like, you don't even notice it, you know what I mean? But it's like when you think about it, you're like, things do seem pretty cloudy right now. Why does it seem?
Because it's so hard to think sometimes. Just get stuck and.
Yeah, chime in, you guys. Have you been feeling the cloudy?
Feedback.
You been on the cloud? Is this cloud 9? Is this what they're talking about?
Definitely was feeling a lot of bliss energy last night. It came in really. I was telling Shane just before we came on that I was up a little bit later last night, going over different things, and kind of got lost in my research and everything else, so lost track of time. And then it just hit me like the ringing went up, the pressure went up, everything just kicked in really hard, enough to make me stop and go, whoa, what's going on? And it hit me. I'm like, I bet you it's 111. And I look, and it's 411 right now. It says 411 right now. It's 411. And
my gosh,
and it said 111. It said 111.
There's 187 people in here right now.
Wow.
And it says 11 messages a minute.
Yeah. And it hit me. So again, I've been having that idea that I'm feeling the energy at certain times, but then I'm thinking, it's 111. It's 111 for me here. It's not 111 for everybody. Like, how, isn't this interesting how this experience works?
It is for Sylvia in California right now. It's 111.
Yeah, and it's still a unique perspective, but we're also experiencing this, but it really shows you in our own timing too. But I can absolutely felt the energy of 111 last night, enough for it to completely stop me in what I'm doing, because I couldn't even focus on what I was seeing anymore. And I saw what time it was, and it just picked up heavier and heavier. And then I had a song come in. I'm remembering this now. And then I had the song come in so powerfully. And because I was starting to get the pitch, like you talked about, pictures coming up. And I got Frankie Goes to Hollywood, The Power of Love.
Mm.
Oh my goodness. And so it came in, and I'm like, okay, so I need to listen to it. And I put it on, and I just really, like Nathan says, it was like how he describes how he gets his messages from Sam. But I'm finding now that I don't necessarily need to turn on the radio, that the songs will just come in, and so powerfully and so clearly. And I can just, it's like it's being sung to me, is how it feels like. So I had this really beautiful experience last night. If anybody's ever knows the lyrics of that song, it's pretty amazing. It really is. Yeah. A force, the power of love, right? A force above, a skyscraping dove. Yeah. I'll protect you from the hooded claw, keep the vampires from your door. I'll protect you when the chips are down. I'll be around with my undying, depth-defying love for you. Envy will hurt itself. Let yourself be beautiful. I can't even help it. I can't even help it. And I had what a lot of people have been reporting, experiencing to me, both waking and in dreams, is the weeping coming up again. And I really think that this is this energy coming in, that Christ consciousness energy flooding in, and that love flooding in, and us responding to it. I've been anticipating it for about 3 weeks or so now, and I'm really starting to see the results of that coming in, and definitely was affected by it last night. So it was a beautiful moment, and I hope some of you will go look up that song and listen to it, because it's a very powerful love song. It really, really is. About light.
It's amazing that let me see, I'm getting an echo here. Check 1, 2. Okay, so it's one of the things that sort of blew my mind last year. I had an instance where I was in my room and I smelled something burning. I go out to see, like, I think my daughter burnt some toast or something. It wasn't any big deal, but I said, "What are you, burning down the house?" And then that song "Burning Down the House" got into my head, and then that led me down this little. Because I looked it up, I'm like, because that song kept sticking in my head after that happened. So I looked it up, and that led me to all this other information. I was like, oh my gosh, it was right along the path of synchronicities happening.
Yeah.
But I was led from the smell of burning toast to this "Burning Down the House" song, which led me to this whole thing about what we were just talking about earlier about your ego. There was this whole thing by this guru talking about burning down the house, talking about burning down your ego or whatever, which is exactly what we were talking about. And I was like, what are the chances of burnt toast leading me to this right now? So if you're really paying attention, it's wild.
Mm-hmm. So sorry, Shane. So once you're I cut you off. I'm sorry.
So it just makes you sound crazy to people. You're like, yeah, I smelled some burnt toast. I got the song "Burning Down the House" in my head. That made me look up the lyrics to the song, but it also pulled up this other article about, keeping your ego under control, and someone using the term "burning down the house," and that just sounds so crazy to someone else. You know what I mean? But in essence,
it's your world at that time.
Yeah, it was wild. I even did a video about it. I was like, and I thought, I'd get a bunch of people doing the thumbs down, but no, it was like, people get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think just like when seeing the numbers, I think it's really is another example of that. And I think when you recognize it, that's when you'll really notice it more, when those songs just kind of come in totally out of nowhere, it seems like, and they're just in. You can hear it so clearly in your head, and it won't go away. It'll just keep popping up. And then to put the cherry on top, to find out that you're not the only one hearing that song. I think that's just one of my favorites as far as the synchronicities go. You're not somebody else, and so many other people have been having like the same song pop in their head too. So I think that's a great message for all of us.
Johnny Be Good said, "Let go of the ego," and it reminded me of that old "Lego my ego," like Lego my ego, Lego my ego. Yeah.
I'm surprised that hasn't been Mandela somewhere.
Oh gosh, it probably has. It was like we were talking yesterday. That's just so mind blowing about the stovetop stuffing.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned. I remember. wasn't something I made all the time. I usually made my own stuffing, but I did make that a couple years ago. And I mean, I grew up with that commercial. I know. Yeah, that one really surprised me.
Yeah. And it's so weird that you see these things and they surprise you, but at the same time, it's like, you know, you've seen it happen so many times. How does it keep making such a huge impact, you know? But it's cool. It just lets you know that you're not crazy about the other ones, because over time you start doubting your memories, you know, when you start saying all there is the new way of something, and you're just looking at the new way and the new way, and you're like, man, this just looks more familiar than the old way now, because that's all you've seen, you know. Fruit Loops, for instance, you know, that looked so odd in the beginning. You know, Jim Carrey's name looks so odd with 2 R's in it to me at first. I'm like, look, they spelled his name wrong. They spelled same way with the Black Crows. It looks so odd to me. It looked like the Black Crowns or something. It looks weird with the extra E in there. Crow, E-S, crows.
Really?
Yeah, I swear. It's not the Black Crows anymore. It's not an S on the end of crow. It's an ES on the end of crow.
That's weird.
It is weird. And you know what? I wouldn't even have known. I had their album and stuff, but it's the fact that when I see it, it sticks out as being wrong to me. That's how I know, more than I specifically remember it was spelled right. It's just why every time I see it, it looks wrong, like Jim Carrey's name. It's like, wait a minute, his name didn't have 2 R's in it. It looks so odd.
Yeah. There's so many things like that. But I wonder too, if as we transition into sort of the different timelines where those changes are, and as we transition more, then that other reality kind of fades as well too. So it kind of gets harder to recall, and we start to question the memory more as well. But when there becomes too many things, like Sex in the City was like, that was weird.
Did you watch that show ever?
It wasn't like I wasn't a regular viewer of it, but I'd certainly seen a few episodes, and I certainly knew what the title was.
See, I think I watched a piece of one, and it just wasn't anything like I thought it was going to be. But, you know, I saw it like on the newsstand, on magazines. It was highly publicized. And
it was, very popular show.
So there was no doubt in my mind, and it was like, you know, and then I go to my best friend that watched it, and I was like, oh, you remember that show you liked? And he was like, yeah, it's always been Sex in the City. I'm like, what? This is so weird, man.
Yeah.
It's odd to me.
Yeah, it is. Zoe, she's starting up her nonsense.
All right, so did you want to tell us about your mom's dream before we head out for the day?
Well, she didn't say too much about it. She just said had some very interesting people in it. So some Hollywood names, which for the timing is very unusual. And it's not like she's even really been tracking that. So I just thought it was really curious, you know, with the different information that's coming out about Hollywood people.
Right.
Or to be having a dream at that time. So it's not like she's even been really following that. So for her to be dreaming about, it's not like she has dreams about celebrities like this. I don't think I've ever heard her tell me about a dream with a bunch of different Hollywood celebrities in it. And that was interesting. But she didn't tell me too much about what actually happened. So I think it's highlighting what's going on right now. Mm-hmm.
We do have Hollywood in the crosshairs now, the political field, and it's all connected, though, you know?
Yeah. And I think I can see, too, is that the way Hollywood's going to push back with diverting attention to say, well, hey, it's not just us, you know, look over there too, you know, it's not all about us. So I think that's kind of how it'll happen in transition. And I was watching a Tom Hanks interview too, with his foot's twitching like this. He's like answering these questions. He is so nervous. Oh my God. He's like, well, I think that is probably, you know, everywhere. I'm like, ooh, okay. Giving yourself away there, Tom. He's under pressure for sure. So so we'll see how this plays out. Just remember that we don't have to bury ourselves in it, but you know, it's time to acknowledge it and demand changes, I think, just like with everything else. And I think we're going to really start to see those things unfold through August. With arrests, I think the arrests are going to start. Well, there was somebody. I can't remember the name right now, but there is one of the indictments has been unsealed.
Yeah, a few of the indictments have been unsealed.
Yeah. So I think we're going to start seeing it, like I say, pop like popcorn. I think it's going to start to go.
Yeah, the one I saw.
Those first few things. Sorry.
The one I saw was an FBI agent.
Yes.
CIA.
Yeah. Schultz or. Yeah. And but the thing is what's coming up is what we've been waiting for. It's not just about him taking documents and leaking documents. It is about child pornography. And there's the connection there. And I think, and he had massive amounts of it, hard drives and everything. So I think that's where, with that information coming out, we're going to see the connections to who is involved in this ring. I think that's what'll come out with this as well. You know, the players.
Well, starting to get an echo again. All right, so we can wrap it up. What do you have coming up in the next week?
We'll see. I'm going to be doing dream shares on Thursdays from now on, a regular thing. So this week I've got Simba should be joining me. I have a dream share. If anybody wants to send me an email, if they would like to come on and do that and share their dreams, you can certainly let me know. I'd love to do that with you. So wolfe.art101@gmail.com. I'm doing the reading. You know what? The online tarot readings are just going so wonderfully. It's been a great transition from just doing one-on-one in-person readings, and being able to do readings for all over the world now is just such a blessing and just an amazing experience. So I've really been enjoying doing that. And if anybody's interested, just again, send me an email. So I'd be really enjoying it. I want to say hi to Claire. I had a wonderful time with Claire, all the way in Ireland yesterday. And it's just such a great experience. So awesome. I love you, Claire. She sees this. Yeah. And all you guys, I'm going to be doing a lot more with my own channel. So I have a responsibility to keep up to all the wonderful people that have been subscribing. And that's just such a great feeling. It really is. The love and support. It's wonderful.
Lisa Toller says, "Oh my God, Shane, the echo makes you sound like the Twilight Zone little girl who got lost behind the wall in the 4D." Help me! I didn't see that episode, or if I did, I don't remember it. That's funny though.
I used to love watching that show.
At least didn't make me.
Where people were lined up to go onto the spaceship, and then they find out that they're all going to be eaten. There's a menu. Great show.
Yeah, I remember one of the Narnia books. They went into the Giants thing and they climbed up on the table and they're looking at this big recipe book and it says man pie and they're like, "What the heck? I'm out of here." Man pie. That's hilarious. All right. Well, lots of love and light to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much again for joining me today, Michelle.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm sorry I'm not my usual excited self, but maybe that's a break for everybody else too.
Shout out to Jamie. Jamie lurking. That's okay. I lurk too all the time, so I'm not judging. So anyway, lots of love and light.
I color and listen in.
Yeah, a lot of times that's what it is for me, is that I'm just listening and I'm doing other things. So yeah, so it makes it hard to chat. So anyway, we will see you again next week.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, unless we get zapped out of here or something.
Yeah, but then you know what? That's okay. I'll be seeing you there. I'll see you on there.
Then we'll be coming live from 5D, hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be a party. I will be ready to DJ that one. Let me tell you.
Amen to that.
God made me funky.
Lots of love and light to everybody. We love you so much, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.
Peace.
Peace.